welcome to the Beetle and Grimm's Pandemonium Warehouse Shopping Network. Shipping Goblin Bob here is going to tell you all about our new Platinum Edition. It's my favorite.
Thanks, George. Friends, are you tired of putting a cat, a flask of poison, and a source of radiation into a sealed box and having to settle for a cat that's dead or alive? Well, Beetle and Grimm's Pandemonium Warehouse has the product for you. Introducing the Schrodinger's Cat Platinum Edition. With the Schrodinger's Platinum Box, you can have both versions of your pet at the same time. Free yourself from objective collapse and enjoy a cat that simultaneously exists in two decoherent realities. It's time for atomic indeterminacy to enter the macroscopic domain. It's time for Schrodinger's Cat Platinum Edition.
Yeah. She's totally dead. But totally alive.
Only from Beetle and Grimm's Pandemonium Warehouse. Simultaneously available and sold out now.
In a world wrought with demons, going to hell is the only way to get redemption. 5 adventures, 1 mission. This spring, join us as we descend into Avernus, the first layer of hell. Action, fire, brimstone. If you make a deal with the devil, you better be prepared to dance. Band of Badgers, Descent into Avernus, coming this May.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to Band of Badgers, where we will be beginning our finale mystery of our story, King Hunt, today. As you might notice, the arrangement is a little different today. I am your storyteller, your GM here, Elle, at Good and Chaotic, various places around the internet, he, him. We are joined by our lovely players, but no special guests today. This will simply be an adventure with our core cast only. Speaking of our core cast, let's introduce them to the team, shall we? So, Dr. Anki, I'm already straight into it, aren't I? T, tell us more about you, name, pronouns, and where we can find you on the internet, all those good things.
Hi, Plasticity here. No fear except for what's to come. Plastio is fine, don't really care. You can probably find me at Plasticity if you so desire. I don't know why, but hey, I'm here, so that's probably a good reason. He, him, in real life anyway. She, her for Dr. Anki because she's a badass. And I've spoken up because I'm nervous and I'm freaking excited. I'm so happy.
Jerris.
Hello.
Take it away.
I'm Jerris, at Dangerous on everything, Twitch, Twitter, everything. Pronouns are he, him, and we don't know how eels mate. That is, we don't know. No one knows.
It is a mystery.
We'll never know.
We may never know. Ree, take it away.
Hello, I am Ree, Romeo Indigo Echo. You can find me on most places as either recreated, Romeo Indigo Echo, or just Ree, R-I-E, spelled like I spelled it. I'm a she, her, and I am playing Ingrid, the weird little chaos gremlin from the forest.
Quite true, quite true. And Joe.
Oh yeah, my name's Joe, and I am playing Father Pavel, or just Pavel now. And you can find me everywhere on I'm a Good Demon Honest. Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, players. And as usual, thank you to our wonderful supporters, Beetle and Grimm's, and the fantastic VAESEN publishers, Free League, who have supported us through this entire process. We love you all very much. I'm very excited to be playing through this final arc today. Before we get into our story, I should mention VAESEN is a little spooky and scary. At times, there may be elements that aren't so pleasant. There may be things that are obviously uncomfortable, such as gore, or in scenes of intense violence, or scenes that may be potentially triggering to people out there. Should such things occur, I will flash these lights red, If it happens, that is your case. That is your key to run away and get a cup of tea, or just otherwise step away from the screen for a bit whilst things calm down. You may then come back when you're feeling a little more comfortable, when these lights are again green, if that is not your bag. With all that being said, I believe that is all the OC announcements for today. Who is ready to conclude
Yes.
our VAESEN story?
I'll never be ready, but I won't let it show.
Me.
Wait, I just let it show. Fuck. Oh, yeah.
Beans.
So, since the last mystery, the incident at Molly, you've had a few weeks to get some rest and get your bearings. The weeks turned into perhaps a month, and you have prepared yourselves accordingly, waiting for a call that you know is coming at some point in the near future. Ingrid disappears into the woods, having spent days in the library. Alexander Kruger disappears onto the road, into a stagecoach, and away for perhaps a couple of weeks and hasn't been seen for a little while, but he did eventually come back. Dr. Anki Salo has been very busy running from the observatory back to her lab in the lower floors of the castle with her assistant in tow, shall we say, and seems to be doing a little something with the observatory water, which she has not yet shared with you all. Father Pavel, I will say that for this you have probably been making your way between the church in the center of town and the chapel in the castle proper. You have found yourself once again embroiled in your studies. Sophia sends you home baked goods every now and again, delivered by Dean, the courier. There is always one less pastry than the note Sophia sends with the hampers mentioned, and crumbs around Dean's mouth when they reach you, but they are quite pleasant all the same. They provide you the much-needed bolstering to get through the weeks of tense silence that you endure after your trip to Morley. You see nothing of Linnaeus or his agents, and although you keep one eye open, no attacks come. Alexander, on your trip, you reach a small HQ on the edge of a nearby town. Nothing special, a small township, low population, low chance of anyone seeing you or remembering who you are. Everyone keeps their heads down and goes about their business. You enter what appears to be a small community hall, make your way into the basement. You do the knock that you know to signify that you are a friend of this place, and are ushered quickly inside. They let you know that you have in fact received no missives because they have not sent any. They assumed everything was fine, and they have in fact had been receiving, they say, missives from Olaus Clint. His last missive was that he will be in touch with you as soon as it is appropriate to, but that you would both prefer radio silence from them to allow you to conclude your ends. You, of course, inform them that he is, in fact, dead. At that, they are a little more concerned, and they instruct you to do as you will to see these unfortunate circumstances through to their conclusions. Is there anything you would like to ask of these people whilst you're there?
What of the things? What do you suggest? The party that I'm with at the moment, I am meant to be relaying information back. The information I have so far is that unlike most of the people that I've been sent to track, these are hardworking, very good at their jobs. However, one of them is most definitely a user of magics, which is not expressly forbidden, but is worrisome, if I am correct. What would you suggest I do for the rest of my time with them?
You see sort of a slender, older-looking woman, sort of salt and pepper hair piled up into a intricate bun on her head. She has an array of cutlery at her side, from a very elegant rapier to a sort of hand crossbow. She's sort of sorting through the books as you talk on her desk. She looks up and says, I would suggest for now that you remain with them at your post. It seems that these upstarts have been causing quite a stir. I am unsure to what end, but with Olaus being dead and him getting orders from somewhere other than us, I have significant concerns. Your instructions will be to keep a further eye on them specifically, and to ignore any outside orders from this supposed L. I'm unsure who they think they are, but they are not to command one of the Rosenbergers without our express consent.
If such a opportunity arises, would you like him rid of?
I will leave that to your discretion, Kruger.
Then I shall be on my way.
Good man. Keep up the good work. We will be in touch. And you make your way back to the Castle Gillencroots. As you all once again come together in Castle Gillencroots, it's late December now. The frost is forming intricate patterns across windows that resemble the webs of spiders, or on the trails of a treasure map. The world resembles a snow globe, and within Castle Gillencroots, you feel just as trapped as if stuck inside one, despite the large halls and expansive grounds. When the knock sounds at the door, it again is a little jarring at first, but you recover. You hear Thurston open it and promptly shut it again. You then hear him usher somebody quickly inside, and the sound of him talking to another man, both conversing in very low voices. What would you like to do?
We sort of sneak nearby around the corner to have a listen.
Of course you can. Roll me a logic investigation check as you all sort of Scooby-Doo your way into this room.
Singular.
Singular. All right. Okay. Is anyone else joining them?
Yes. 2 seconds, just rolling.
Ingrid, Anki?
I think noticing that people are starting to sneak, we'll keep a distance from the people sneaking, and after they fail or succeed, enter.
I see.
Yeah.
Hanging back with Dr. Anki? Okay.
Just thinking about the suspense.
The suspense is killing us, and also the bullets.
Did did you pass?
I did, yeah.
Got one success.
Okay. I would take that because it's not working. I'm gonna refresh my browser.
Would you like me to roll for you?
Yes, do that. 6d6, please.
66.
Probably another good way of doing it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
Hey, that means if there's Pavels, it's El's fault. Excellent.
Yes.
Ooh, well, not quite a Pavel, but not quite enough either. You rolled 1 6. The NPC in question rolled 2. However, you do get enough of a head start that you sort of make your way closer, keeping your feet as quiet as possible on Castle Gillencroots' many expansive floorboards. You think you're being quiet. You know this castle well enough now to know which floorboards creak, and you know which parts to avoid. So you scan your way across the floor here, press yourself against the side of the door and try and listen in. You see inside is Detective Knight. He looks more bedraggled than usual. In fact, he has sort of lacerations over his cheeks that are healing. There is what appears to be a large, almost a rather large graze along his left cheek that appears to be in the process of healing, but is still rather nasty. He's got several bruises. His coat is torn. One of the tailcoats has been ripped off. It's a little worse for wear, but he's talking in low voices with Thurston, your butler. And as you turn the corner, you can hear them say, "No, not yet. We just simply I must talk to them. Are they in? Do you know where they are?" And it's at that moment where you take your final step towards the door, and he looks over, whips his head around, says, sort of smiles, gives a chuckle, says, I see you've managed to avoid that specific floorboard, but that wall tells tales. And he does point over to one specific part of the wall where the wallpaper itself has peeled off away enough to reveal cracks in the brickwork that let you see through it. And he's sort of, yeah. Either way, lovely to see you all. You're all looking well.
Yes.
It's
How are
been
you?
a hard road.
I can tell. I've heard things, of course. Can only empathize.
What things have
Yes.
you heard?
Well, your exploits. You've caused quite a buzz, all of you.
Oh,
For all
there's
good
someone at the
things.
door.
Pardon?
Oh, there's someone at the. Oh, there is someone at the door. What have you heard?
Dr.
Hello.
Enki. Pleasure to see you again. How are you?
It has been a long time.
Yeah,
A
that's
hard road. And you are here, which is
I
good.
am. Yes.
Coffee?
We may not have time. Unfortunately, this is not a social visit. You probably have come to expect that by now, though.
Judging from your coat tail, yes.
Yes, I've not gotten around to replacing it yet. That's on me. Listen, I have a job for you all. But it's not just the job either. This investigation, in coming to me, this missive has revealed the location of Linnaeus, Carl Linnaeus. I know where he is. I know where he's going to be. We think he's been there for perhaps a week, and we don't think he has any plans of moving on soon. And as you all know, we are aligned in perhaps seeing that man, if not gone, at least, dealt with in some fashion that he cannot hurt anyone any longer. He has proved quite the nuisance.
The man has taken advantage of our trust, our
The
allies.
man has taken a life.
He's taken many lives, it turns out. All across the society, actually. It was... You all have found the proof.
Yes.
You found the proof that he is, in fact, undeniably responsible for the death of the society. We cannot let that stand. And so this is as much a job for me as it is for the person in question. But what I would say is that this job is directly linked to this mystery, this task. Linnaeus is also involved. By solving whatever is happening here, you will unveil your final key in how to get to him. Here you go. And he does hand you over a letter, Dr. Anki. As you steam open this sort of well-sealed envelope, it's very heavy, thick paper, again, very dense ink, extremely elegant handwriting. It almost resembles calligraphy more than it does the common hand. And it says, "Dear cousin, I am writing to request the assistance of the society. Something strange is afoot, and I cannot for the life of me make sense of it all. My wife Agnes and I recently had our first child, Edward. Suddenly, just a few weeks after his birth, Agnes was like a different woman. She wanted nothing to do with the child, and now is locked up at Arensberg Sanatorium after going to the sauna in the middle of the night to, in her own words, drown the monster. Agnes has always been a wise and sensible person. I do not understand what has gotten into her. Perhaps it is my fault. I left her alone, as a lot of my dissertation took up a lot of my time. In addition, Edward's christening was postponed because I was invited to give a lecture on my dissertation at Lund University. I am at my wit's end. She will not talk to me anymore, and the only person she has been in contact with is her priest, Father Cornelius. Father Cornelius is convinced that Agnes is right and that the child has fallen victim to evil. He has proposed an exorcism. If he has his way, I fear for the child's safety. As a scientist, I cannot accept this ludicrous idea that supernatural forces could be at work. I need your expertise and the society to navigate the situation effectively. Perhaps someone with your experience could convince Agnes and the priest. I am desperate, dear cousin. Your help would be most welcome. Yours sincerely, Hugo von Kaiserling, Baron of Arensberg."
It seems to me somewhat contradictory to seek out the society to prove that something is not supernatural. Although, having said that, most of the things we've encountered have very much been of a natural persuasion, just not necessarily a natural inclination to be logical.
You're quite right. And in my cousin's defense, he may think that this is the last stop before going to the police. And with the troubles of the family, I think that's the last thing he wants.
Troubles with the family?
Yes. Our family is not a happy one. He will absolutely not be surprised that it is not me attending to this personally. Yes, it's a bit complicated, but put it simply, the family is a little fractured, and has had significant scandal in the past. Therefore, any one of us going to the police with anything is quite the travesty. Indeed. But yes, I would be quite grateful if you were to help me with this, not only because it would help me, but it would help all of you and the society as a whole.
So Linnaeus is in London, somehow connected to the case of a possibly demonic child. Excellent.
Quite. From what I have found out, Linnaeus wants the child for an unknown reason, and he is now living in Arensburg until he achieves that goal. That's from the vague messages I've intercepted. It's all codified, and I can't quite make it out, but the key is this child somehow. I can tell you a little more about Hugo, if that would help.
Speak, we are all ears. Well,
Hugo,
we're not cubs, but yeah.
You see, Hugo was looking into the truth of the craters that surround the town of Arensburg. There is a nearby village, a small village named Kali. It is there that he has been conducting most of his research for his dissertation before his wife got pregnant. It's rumored troll territory. Furthermore, another oddity, Hugo only really started making headway with his dissertation after he returned home one day with a marvelous-looking instrument called a kantele. He learned how to play it, beginning to perform for the crowd at the Carlay Inn. When his dissertation, Song of Shadow and Fire, was published and declared a highly renowned resource, shortly after that, Agnes gave birth. A couple of weeks after that, her health took a turn and she tried to kill the infant. Yes, Dr. Enki, or Seb?
L question.
Seb, answer. Sorry, T, answer.
Yes, well, you mentioned a cantilla.
Indeed I did.
This is not something that has started. This is not something that is brought up in character creation. However, a cantilla is a popular folk instrument from the region which Dr. Anki is from. Does that have any bearing on what I could draw for information with somebody finding a weird-ass cantilla in what seems to be troll country? Because that is Finnish folklore AF.
Fantastic. Could you please roll me logical learning?
I would be delighted to.
Yes, Kruger.
I'm assuming 3 to 4 weeks is not the normal amount of time one needs to be pregnant for before giving birth. You said that she was found to have been with child 3 weeks before, yes? He came home as interim instrument, or was she willingly, or was she knowingly?
It was a normal gestation period.
So it was normal. My apologies. The way it was said.
It's quite all right.
That's fine. Also good to know, because that means it is not a certain thing.
I'm proud to introduce a nice first Pavel.
Oh dear. Would you like to push it?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Give me a luck push.
1 success.
Fantastic. You have a think for a moment. You know that a kantele is a triangular instrument. Obviously, it's similar to I think it's I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's spelled the zither. It's very similar to that. It's sort of a triangular string instrument. Almost looks like the bottom half of a guitar if it was a triangle. The poetry book. I will say that you've read a book named the Calavella, which is a which is a poetry book, sort of an amalgamation of different, obviously, pieces of work from around Sweden and about Swedish folklore and such looks and such like. It recounts how the first cantele was created from a pike's jawbone and hair from a troll's horse. Indeed, you're nodding because you know this already, but yeah. And it is a magical instrument with the power to attract forest creatures and cause unnatural growth amongst the local shrubbery and foliage.
I'm pleased. Listening.
We are going to troll country, yes?
That's the rumor, yes. I've not personally investigated
Suspected.
it, but yes, suspected troll country.
Fantastic.
Happen to know anything additional about trolls?
I was going to say, does anyone know how to deal with a troll?
Generally speaking, don't be there.
Unfortunately,
I make
in this
a roll?
case,
Of course you
it appears
can.
we can't.
Make me a logic and learning test. Anyone who wants to also help with this may add an additional d6 to his roll.
I would like to help, and I would like to ask what price you made me pay for pushing my luck.
Oh, right. Yes, of course. Goodness.
I assume everyone's helping.
Yes.
Yes, go for it. As you think deeper about this, you realize another thing in quite short order. This means that, far from it being demonic, this cantele being what it is, and you going to troll country, suggests that a possible exchange has taken place.
Oh, changeling stuff!
Mm-hmm.
This chills you to your core. From what you know of that subject, it is an extremely difficult subject involving extremely difficult themes, and the nature of that and having to confront that sort of thing again, where someone has perhaps lost a child, absolutely
Not
chills
naming
you to your
names.
core. You feel the hopelessness start to set in as you realize that once again you are going to have to deal with an extremely thankless situation that you did not ask to be put in.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Not wonderful.
I got it. Singular success.
Singular success. Okay. You know that trolls,
How do I kill them, Al? How do I kill them?
with one success, you know that trolls are often docile creatures. You know that often they are extremely hard to detect amongst the local population. They are often, their guise is very human, but they will have tells. They will have tells, and you know that you can look for them in things such as the signs of local troll life are a natural growth of wildlife, extremely well-guarded rural areas, and places that seem unnaturally almost pristine compared to where they are. Furthermore, they tend to maybe have odd details about them that you can notice if you are very perceptive. So I think that's all you sort of know about trolls. You can't really figure out how exactly to deal with them per se, but you do know that they are, despite their human-looking appearance, fully supernatural creatures.
I will go and collect Crassus's gun.
That's fair.
That will deal with trolls in the most.
This
Are
will
you
work.
awesome.
He just comes back with a. He's still got bits of apple stuck in the end of it. It's like, this will work.
It's a nightmare. It stinks. It's like fermented. It's like fermented at this point as well, the apple that's in the gun. So it smells like pungent apple cider.
It's the saddest thing in the world for me.
It's gross.
Who keeps
It
his
is a gun of glue wine. What an excellent invention.
Indeed. Teddy says, well, the one good thing about this is that you are dealing with my cousin, and he is in fact loaded. So he has covered everything, pretty much. You'll travel there across the waters to Osel and Arensburg proper. is completely covered by him. And well, if I may say, he's actually splashed out and gotten you the nice cabins. So have fun. But the boat is leaving in like a couple of hours, so I would suggest anything you would like to do it now. I will be remaining. I have a few more bits of business to do, but I will be following along behind at a distance.
Arnsberg.
Will we have time to quickly run down to the library and do a quick search for troll-related books?
Yes, of course. I will leave you to that. He sort of stands, brushes himself off, looks over to Thurston, says, "Stand fast, Rook," and then leaves.
Why is everybody playing chess? Why is everybody playing chess and it's just us left with the bloody checkers?
Thurston says, "I don't know. I never played it myself," and goes.
Yeah, it's not. Do not worry, my good man. You may yet be one decent person.
Okay, and now we come to the wonderful subject of advantage. Aren't we excited?
Beyond reckoning.
Beyond belief. So, all of y'all, how would you like to prepare for your trip to Arnsberg, knowing that you are dealing with potential trolls, a potentially demonic child, a meddling priest, and a heiress who has potentially gone off the deep end?
A meddling priest. God, I don't
Indeed.
know where.
Exactly. I wouldn't know why that would resonate.
In this particular
I wouldn't know
area.
why that would resonate with Pavel. That seems a little off the bat for him.
Is there anything you would like to share with us, oh liar friar?
Would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling priests.
Okay, folks, what are we doing?
As I said, I think I'm going to go down and check the books.
Tab. Library. Okay. Who is going with him, if anyone?
Oh,
nope. Massive.
I would, but I have a pot stirring that needs tending to.
Dr. Anki, I know what you're doing. That's fine. I'm just gonna put that down, and we'll address it later. Alexander, what would you like to do?
If you can go to Ingrid first, I have something to think about very quickly.
No worries. Ingrid?
I'm going to the forest to find materials for certain things.
Okay. Forest adventures. Fantastic.
If I may.
You may.
Sergeant. Whatever you have planned. Mr. Knight said that his cousin is in fact loaded and can spare all expenses. However, here in Uppsala, if there's anything you need at the moment, and it requires extra additional expense, please tell me. Because if we are going after Linnaeus, that is an investment that I am willing to make for our future.
There is...
And I put a very large purse in your hand.
It's heavy. It's loaded.
I was not... I want to know if Pavel can find anything about how to... See, the problem being is that we have both trolls, which are difficult, I'm aware. They are slow, lumbering creatures, but at the same time, they are large, lumbering creatures.
Horrifying, nigh on indestructible, and the stuff nightmares are made of.
Well, the second problem is the demonic child, which may or may not be the mad ravings of a woman in an insane asylum or an actual demonic possession. And we are currently without an actual priest.
Oh, I have full conviction in Father Pavel. He has a will to live, and that will keep any sort of faith in him for the time required. If not, we can outrun him.
This is fair. What I would like to do... Mm-hmm. This castle has a chapel, correct?
It does.
Are there any relics in it?
Okay, relic hunting. I'll pop that for your advantage.
Yeah. I think that might work. If I do need... I don't really need anything. The only thing that I could potentially want in town for money-wise, I already have. I already have 2 giant cannons.
Understandable. This
Yeah.
place has a cathedral.
I
Oh,
don't want
am
to
quite
take
sure.
from them, though.
That's where the money comes in.
Yeah.
All right, in that case, we will bring everyone to their separate scenes. Dr. Anki, we will start with you, my dear. Can you tell the folks at home a little about what you got up to over the month that you had in preparation?
Well, if it wasn't for the fact that they've been rapping about running into the woods or just skipping out on town, they would know already. However, what we have in the observatory seems to be a replenishing pool of fairy tears. A very fascinating subject.
That is something you should have said.
It is something I would have said. You were not there, Mr. Mysterious Fuckoffery Man.
I went to go and check on the places that are not sending us missives. I went to go and make sure that Linnaeus had not burnt down other Rosenberg headquarters.
Oh yes, Rosenbergs. I did not even know they were on our side or without us. I don't care. Either which way. Yes, fairy tears, very fascinating. Has something to do with vegetable stuff. Matters. I am a doctor, not a botanist. Hey. Either which way, I have a theory, and it is a theory that will be tested. Probably on Pavel, because he still owes me for the hair, the bastard.
He does still owe you for the hair.
And as such, I shall be off to brew a pot of coffee.
With the fairy tears?
Duh.
Fantastic. Roll me logic and learning, please.
I don't think there's a lot of logic going into this, to be honest.
If you want to roll another attribute, I can.
No, I don't. I'm just being a shit.
So ever since you've described that instrument, I've now been looking them up to see how much they are.
They are so pretty.
Let me just... Oh, and the jawbone with the illustrations of the Vanemon and Cantalet is beautiful.
It's gorgeous, yeah.
Pavel count 2. Hi, can I push?
Yes, you blummin' can. Fantastic. We love to hear it. Please
Wow.
do, yes.
Pavel count 3.
Oh, no.
It was
dear.
bound to happen.
Dr. Anki, you... Oh, Lord. Okay. Bear with a moment whilst I roll
Fear not.
something. Flippin' G. Okay.
Am I going to be growing beans?
You attempt to extricate more water from the pool. Again, it is the observatory up at the top of the of Castle Gillincroots. Even in the middle of the day, it radiates some sort of mythic energy that you can feel from the second you walk in. Although it is bright and gleaming, you know that there is a presence here. You know that there are other things watching. There are other elements at play that aren't quite familiar for you. You can feel the hairs at the back of your neck begin to stand up as though an electric shock has passed through your body. And you take some water from the pool, go down to your lab, begin to set up your equipment. As you are filling things out and sort of taking things down, making things move around the tubes and such, like you try and decant everything from your Bunsen burner into maybe a nearby test tube to try and see if it's worked, and your hand slips. Your hand slips because from the test tube, a small green vine has curled up that you did not notice, and this green vine makes its way around your hand and squeezes until you let go. And in that split second, the immense pressure, almost like having your foot, your hand run over by a stagecoach, it is immensely strong. And as this pressure is applied and you drop the flask in terror, you realize as you look down at your hand, as the flask scatters and shatters across the floor, the glass going everywhere, and the tincture itself inside scatters across the floor and ingrains itself in the cracks of Castle Gillincroots and begins to grow up in foliage, mosses and ferns and flowering little blue flowers that take root. You look down at your hand as the pain hasn't stopped, and you realize that the vine that grew up from the tube has ingrained itself in your hand. It has almost wormed its way under your skin, and it seems to be existing now under the layer.
So am I to assume that whatever horrible condition you are about to impose on me is from amputation?
I will go and fetch the machete.
You are going to take both the frightened. You're going to take the frightened condition for me, since you already have hopeless, as you realize, possibly for the first time in your life, that this is something you truly don't understand and maybe never will.
That thing you don't understand is called karma.
Oh no. I hate
Thank
to
God
correct
he
you,
didn't drink
Skyvoice,
it,
but this is in fact the second time I do not understand. But I hate it all the same, so we're all fine.
Yeah, you have a plant in your hand and no real answers.
Anki has switched gloves when next you see her.
That's fair. Pavel, we will visit Father Pavel in the library as you venture out into Castle Gillencreutz, down the winding courtyards and corridors and hallways of the city itself, trudging through the snow. You kick aside a few snowballs and make your way towards the library. I assume you have the library card with you that Esther has been passing around, as Esther gave to the group after she left. You flash it to the older-looking man with a bit of sandwiches in his mustache as he leans on his cane in the doorway and says, "Oh, yes, friend of Esther. Come in, come in. It's a pleasure to see you. Yes. How can I help you today, my good man?"
I'm looking for some information regarding trolls. Do you have anything?
Oh, goodness, tons. You're looking for fairy stories, a particular region, perhaps?
Not so much fairy stories, I suppose. More. If you could just show me to the general area, I might be able to find what it is I'm looking for myself. I'm looking for something quite specific, you see. So.
Father Pavel, please roll me logic and vigilance.
Vigilance. Two.
You look over and you see from the side of the library a young man of maybe 22-ish is staring at you with intent. He has a furrowed brow and his head cocked ever so slightly to one side, almost like he's trying to figure you out. And as you look over and you make eye contact, he hurriedly ducks his head away and mimes interest in the book on his lap.
I'll walk over and sort of look over his shoulder at what he's reading.
Yeah, sure. You walk over and glance down. It appears to be a treatise on local politics, and specifically the politics of the monarchy. Yeah.
Interesting read.
He looks up and starts as he realizes you walked up. Oh, yeah. Not really, actually. It's kind of just a load of bloated jargon.
As is the monarchy.
Quite right. And then he looks around almost worriedly as he says this and just says, although, obviously, perhaps should not be so loud about that here. Who are you?
Who are you? I mean, you seemed to be staring in my direction whilst I was having a conversation with the chief librarian.
Yeah. Sorry, you reminded me of someone I knew. Klaus. Pleasure to meet you. And he holds a hand out to you.
No, I'll shake his hand and say, Pavel.
Pleasure, Pavel. Trolls, eh? Interesting subject yourself.
Yeah, I have just a personal interest. Should we say?
Oh. Okay.
Why did that pique your ears? Should we say?
Well, again, it's not something I hear people talking about very often, and when I do, it tends to be the person that you reminded me of. She's quite dear to me. But I do, if you're interested, I know the specific section of the library you might be interested in.
Yeah, certainly.
All right, well, follow me. And he does get up, put the book aside, Roll me an empathy observation check.
Nice. One success.
One success. Okay. You notice as he puts the book on the monarchy down, he dumps it completely irreverently and gives it a dirty look before he leads you deeper into the library. You find yourself at a rather lovely section at the very back of the library, near the stairs leading down into the sub-basement. It seems to be a lesser well-kept area here, whereas most areas of the library are extremely well lit, very visible from all ends. This is a very back corner under a light that has been intently not lit, whereas every other lantern is burning. Cast dark shadows that dance along the sides of the books. Please make me a logic and learning test and see what you find out. And from this, you will gain your advantage. Should you roll well.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dr. Anki.
No, you jinxed me. I'll push it.
Go for it.
Is that no Pavel?
Yep.
Lots of pushes today.
Oh no. Hey, there we go. One success.
One success. Okay, let's see what you get. As you look through everything here, you managed to find a book called A Treatise on the Rural Troll, His Kith and Kin. You find alongside it, actually, the treatise itself that you have heard mentioned by Teddy Knight before, Songs of Shadow and Fire, written by Baron Hugo von Kaiserling. And thumbing through these tomes, you find out that trolls hold music and song sacred. Trolls often strike bargains with humans, helpful, genuinely helpful beings, usually, who generally wish to coexist with the local populations around their homes. If a bargain is broken, however, they take it very seriously, and the troll will claim recompense from the deal breaker in whatever way they see fit. You also find out from the treatise Songs of Shadow and Fire that Kali is surrounded by craters that are rumored to be the hubs of this activity. And the writer of the treatise himself, Hugo von Kaiserling, spends the majority of the dissertation postulating that these craters were in fact meteorite made and not volcanic, as the ongoing theory suggests.
Cool. Okay.
Please take your advantage in your next logic and learning test.
Perfect.
Okay.
I shall do. Thank you. I'm gonna try and pocket that book.
Gonna pocket it?
Yeah.
Precision and stealth, please.
Cool. Oh, helps my type right. Yeah, 2 6s.
2 6s, fantastic. Yeah, you easy as pie. The young man who you've just met, Klaus, he turns the other way for a moment, thumbing through the books. So you see the librarian trundle on his cane, wiping a bit of tuna out of his mustache as he moves through the library, and you wait for them both to be turned away and slip this book into your coat, and no one is none the wiser. As you exit the library today, Klaus bids you farewell, shakes your hand, and disappears back into the stacks.
Cool.
And we will switch our scene. So, Alex, you've gone relic hunting. Could you please roll me your logic and observation? Let's have a look here. What am I going to make you roll? Yes.
Vigilance?
Yeah, let's go logic and vigilance for this one, I think.
I'm not hunting anything, technically.
No,
Darn.
unfortunately not.
Darn,
Otherwise, I
my
would give you
Bloodhound
Bloodhound, yeah.
Well, add one to the pile.
Oh no! Would you like to push?
I will, because I am fresh. I have no problems at the
Oh.
moment.
Actually, hold that thought. Pavel, did I make you take a condition there?
You did not. No. That's
I'm
the
terrible
point.
at this nowadays. Goodness gracious. I'm off the ball tonight. I'm
Burn
so sorry,
him.
folks. Pavel, as you're scumming through this book, you actually exit the library before it hits you. As you once again emerge into the brightness of the day, the snow clouds looming above, they sort of press in, forming this obnoxious kind of claustrophobic snow globe effect. And you realize that, in fact, if you're headed this way to this troll country, and if this is a deal that has been broken, things could be getting very serious, especially if Linnaeus is involved. And you realize that time may be more pressing than you in fact realize to get this sorted. You also realize that your guise being revealed has potentially made this a lot more difficult for you, especially if you're dealing with a member of the clergy who seems to be extremely meddling. And that thought strikes fear into your heart as you realize that your guise may further be unveiled as a result of this mystery. You're going to take the frightened condition for me as you back up against the wall and try not to have a panic attack at the thought of this potentially one of your worst nightmares again being revealed.
It's my teens, basically.
Exactly. Kruger, we will go back to you. One success having
my
pushed.
luck, I got one success.
Fantastic. You enter the chapel here. Once again, it's a nicer place than when the team originally found it. The dust layer is gone. The pews are in better order. The altar is in good shape. Thurston has absolutely let no part of this place go unpolished in the last month and a half that he has been here, and it shows. It's very pleasant looking now. You stalk the pews here. You look up and down. You run your hands along the skirting board, along the columns, under the altar itself, trying to find something. And it is when you are running your hand under the altar that you feel a divot in the bottom. Push in, and you hear a slight clicking sound. As you try and figure out where this has come from, you notice that behind you, right where the wine and the bread is usually kept in such places, a panel of the wall has slid away. And inside that is a very elegant, platinum looking, you're not sure if it's pure platinum, but it sure as hell looks it, cross. It's very elegant in design, almost neo-Gothic. And it is being held on a skinny chain, sort of held up from the ground here in a sort of small brass stand.
Is it wearable or is it quite
Yes.
big?
It is wearable.
Is it like a rosary or is it like a proper round the neck kind of cross?
It is like a round the neck cross, yes.
Okay.
Hangs from a chain.
That's acceptable to put round a neck. Don't put rosaries around your neck, kids. That's not where they go. I will put it under my coat, under my shirt, sorry. And just in case we need somebody who actually has reasonable faith and is not a charlatan, I'll jam it on a demonically possessed baby. We'll see.
Yeah. As you go to exit this place,
I do need a condition, yes.
yeah, you turn to exit the chapel, and it's as you walk past the altar that you realize that wasn't there before. In
What, the
fact, you've
altar?
never seen that before, and you realize that in the middle of the floor, in the middle of the pews, a skull has appeared. In the alleyway leading from the door to the altar, it appears to be some sort of elongated, between a sheep's and a deer's skull, perhaps. Its antlers twist far back, far longer than they should, perhaps. Its eyes are hollowed out, and it is covered in dark runes. Inside the skull's mouth is another skull, a lot more human-looking. And it's as you realize this, and as you realize that this was not there previously, that you're going to take the frightened condition for me, as you feel from those cold, dead eyes the feeling of being watched.
I don't like this. This is not fun.
Oh, hey, is it the flesh room skull again?
I was like, it's not Christmas, so the Marilude isn't here, and I'm not gonna have to do a rap battle in order for my food, so that's good. But it has a skull in its mouth like a tiny little alien. Awful. Yeah. When is it physical? Can I pick it up?
Yeah, it's physical.
Oh,
but as you go
God.
to pick it up, it is heavy. It is
Yeah.
very heavy.
All
I'm
right,
gonna need
big
I'm
boy.
gonna need you to make me a check if you actually want to move this thing.
Strength.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have you
Physique.
roll your physique and agility, or your physique and force, whichever's better.
Is it sticky?
I will let you know as he reaches out to grab it.
Neat.
Don't like how you said that.
That. Oh God.
There are
You
reasons.
know where we found this thing the
Oh
last
no,
time, Ree.
I'm quite aware. I'm quite aware.
So I parveled it. However, I'm considering pushing my luck.
If you would like to, that's your prerogative.
I don't know if I want to because this thing seems evil. It's scary.
Doesn't
Also,
that mean you have all the more incentive not to want to fail?
You're making good points, Sankey. You're making good points.
Your choice.
I haven't pushed very often in this game. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right, let's gain more. Yay. I literally am pushing from getting a condition.
Yep.
Beans. Come on. Double Pavel.
Okay. Double Pavel, good lord.
Anything that can fix this.
You are
No.
you reach under the skull and sort of grab it by its jaw, trying to pull it off the floor. And it's as you do so that you feel something cold. And that's almost I'm gonna you know what? You feel something red light, guys. You feel something very cold that almost squishes into your palm as you try to get a good purchase on this thing. It is almost, it's liquid. There's liquid under the skull and on the sides too, and it's sticky for some reason. And as you are leaning down, you realize that it smells sweet, but there is a iron tang to it as well. There is something else. And as you try and lift, the thing, you could swear, grins. And it's at that moment that you yank your hands away out of sheer terror, almost dropping on your fingers, but not quite, and you stagger backwards. You look at your hands and you realize that not for the first time in your life, they're covered in blood. And it's the anger that begins in your heart and radiates out into the rest of your body as you realize that once again, these goddamn creatures, everything in your life, everything you've ever tried to do has been messed up by one of these beings. Everything that you have ever worked for, everything that you've tried to do for yourself has been stymied because one of your mentors wanted you to go and deal with another one of those bloody beasts again, and that's something else that they've done that's terrible. Another mess that you have to clean up. And it's the anger that causes you to rub your hands clean on the nearest surface and storm out of the chapel.
As a person who knows about these kind of things, what is that thing? Can I?
Okay, yeah, logic learning, please, my dude.
Yeah.
What be?
What be?
I'm going to use not those dice because apparently the hell dice didn't like me. And neither did these.
Another Pavel.
Yeah, you have no
Good.
idea.
Not gonna push that.
You're not
I'm
going to push
too
that where
angry.
you are.
Too flustered.
I don't know. I got brain fog.
That's fair.
What to be this brand new kind of fuckery?
Both show.
It's the
Right.
Marilude. That's how I know.
Ree. Hello. Ingrid.
Hello.
You venture out from Castle Gillicrease into the nearby woodland. You have a little special something, don't you? Where you have spent your downtime ascertaining the locations of various herbs and tinctures and ointments that are available to you in the forest that could perhaps be of use in dealing with VAESEN in the future. And you are searching specifically for things used in banishment, correct?
Yes.
Okay. For your role here for advantage then, I'm going to make me do you an empathy observation for your magic.
Okay. Clicky clacky. sympathy, which failed miserably. Observation. I've only got 3 dice, so I have to roll. I pavelled it.
No! Oh
I
dear.
pavelled it.
Babbled it so hard. Would you like to push?
Well, I've already got 1 condition from having pushed in the downtime in the first place.
No, not
Yeah,
wrong.
we'll do it. We'll do it. I really want to know how to banish something should I need to. That was a waste of my time, and I'm now something for no reason.
What condition have you got already?
I just ticked frightened, but if you wanted to move that over, that's fine.
Okay, I'm going to say move your current condition over to hopeless, and we will say that when you're traveling through the woods here, you lean down to try and pick up what you think is Snowdrop, perhaps, but it seems different, almost too big to be Snowdrop. You're not quite sure, and as you look around, you notice that there's another one next to that. And another one next to that. And as you follow your head around, you notice that they form a ring. And that you are stood directly in the middle of it. And it's you realize this, that the voice in your head says, "Run!" And you do. You're going to take the frightened condition for me as you leg it out of the forest and beat feet back for Castle Gillencruz.
I nearly got taken by fairies.
Okay.
We've all had things on today.
I need a hug.
Yeah, just as a quick aside, we're already up to 10 pavels before the advantage stage is over.
I'm so proud of you all. I really am. Each of you, having done your various duties for the day, realize that perhaps you've got about 15 minutes before your shuttle leaves. Your various travel. You make your way down to the stagecoach and are on your way. You take this carriage. Once again, it's that sort of the grumpy older person who transported you before to the Witch Cat Inn. They demand payment and don't really seem too bothered when it's a couple of moss-covered nickels that maybe smell a bit suspect. They don't ask any questions, and soon you are on your way to a small port town on the Swedish coast. You take the schooner Latita and sail to Arensburg. The weather gods smile on you as the sky holds back the snow and large white cloud banks that loom above, and the journey is a cold but pleasant one. A herd of seals gallops around the ship, curiously watching you as you go by. You can tell from the competent ease of the sailors and the salty sea dog of a captain with a large oaken pipe hanging out of his mouth that they have travelled to and from Ozen and Arenberg for quite some time. It is early morning after a strange yet comfortable night spent aboard the ship when the schooner Latita approaches Arensburg harbour. We will attend ever so briefly to the matter of healing. Some of you have already sustained quite significant conditions. Would you like to ruminate on your mementos in order to heal some of those?
Yes.
That would be lovely.
All right, in that case, we will start from the top as I see you. Dr. Anki. What are you doing to fortify yourself in this moment of
So
peace?
we are on a schooner, yes?
Correct. You are. You feel the waves beneath you as you travel.
Just to clarify, are we headed out to open sea or are we going by the coastline?
You are headed through open sea to get to Osel, yes.
Oh my word, we're going to Estonia. Excellent.
You are going to Estonia, yes.
Okay. Well, the first thing I will do is try not to be seasick.
Fair.
The second thing I will do is what everybody does if they are Anki and do not want to be seasick and has had a generally shit couple of days. I will ruminate on my little pill compact, on my little powder compact, and I will down half of the contents with a bottle of wine.
Fantastic. The night before you reach Arensburg, you have this moment of melancholic contemplation. And as you drink and stare at this object held in your hand like a baby bird, delicate in your palm, you feel as you sit there the warm presence that sometimes comes to you when you reach the bottom of a bottle of wine. There is the feeling of familiar hands on your shoulders, just there with you, just present. And as you sit there, as you sit there, you feel a little less alone. And it's this that drives you forward as you realize that this new family that you found, it is for them that you must reach your goal.
As my companions stand with me, as will I stand with them too. Except now, because I'm tired. Fuck.
And you fall over and go to sleep, for sure.
That was the most pathetic and hilarious thing I've ever seen her do.
You don't see this.
Right, I thought we were all in the same place.
Oh, no. You are in separate cabins. This benefactor of yours has spared no expense. You'll get the first class cabins. You have bottles on demand. You are available to get room service if you would like it. Well-dressed attendants see to your every need. There's a very plush beds. Even out here at sea, it's sort of the furniture has been nailed down so it doesn't move around even in the sway of the storms that pass by. Alexander, how are you doing?
The sea does not bother me. My stomach is fine. However, I am angry, and that anger is being transferred into cleaning this fucking gun that is covered in apple chunks. It is a gun. This is a nightmare. I am shocked that it didn't blow his fucking hand off. And I will take out my little compact mirror, and as I lay out all the pieces on my bed and I start cleaning apple and what is at this point now cider out of this gun, I then start looking at all the bits and pieces that these people have done to it, because it's insane. They sawed off a knock gun, basically. It's a mess. This thing will rip it off. Yeah, this is the kind of gun that you would put on a small boat and use to shoot mass amount of ducks.
Yeah, it's the commercial. It's the everyday man's version of like a tank gun. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a big silly.
It's
Alan
ludicrous.
Quartermain style, but let's do this. And I begin to reiterate the things that were told to me at the academy, were told to me at the Rosenbergers. Training, making sure that I am centered and ready and concentrating on the prey at hand.
You clean this gun and ruminate on the mirror. You say the words that you have come to use across your career to center yourself in particularly difficult circumstances. And you know that this time, perhaps more than any other, it's certainly needed. And you find yourself fortifying yourself as you go about your business here. In your mind, you go over missions past. Missions at the very beginning, guided by your mentor, as they showed you the ways of VAESEN and the ways of dealing with them, tracking them, banishing them, ensuring that no one was hurt, and going about your duty as was given to you and has been your duty since birth. As you look into the mirror and clean this gun, you swear you hear their voice in the back of their mind telling you, "Aim, boy! And if you miss, make it look good." And it's this thought that bolsters you and forces you forward as you realize that, yeah, this time you won't. Ingrid, how are you spending your evening?
Well, I don't really think Ingrid's ever been across the ocean before.
You're muted.
Yeah.
I'm only muted for you guys, I'm sorry.
No worries.
I don't think Ingrid's ever been across the ocean before.
Probably not.
Ingrid being a little bit of a wildlife enthusiast to the point of not wearing shoes, though she's currently wearing shoes because it's snowing. She'll probably spend most of it on deck, leaning over, trying to see anything. She just wants to see the sea and any creatures she spots. And if she spots even the hint of a rock, she's gonna be like, "I saw a thing! It's a thing! I saw a thing! It's out there! I saw a thing!" Constantly pointing out, and that's gonna cheer her up because she's gonna be all like, that was a whale. That was totally a whale. I saw a whale. that was definitely a whale. No one could convince me otherwise. And it was just like a piece of seaweed.
Of course. As you do this, you're sort of pointing out bits of what you think is wildlife. You hope it's wildlife. There's sort of the odd flick of tail every now and again. You're not quite sure if that's a seal. That doesn't look like a seal. Perhaps it's a bit too long to be a seal. No, it has to be a seal. You're pretty sure that's the only sort of thing that makes sense. You've seen them before. It's as you're doing this, you look around and you're very excitedly pointing things out. One of the sailors walks by and goes, "Oh, yeah, you got a seal all right there, love. Yeah, no, a little to your left. There you go. Look. And between you two, sort of a younger man aboard this vessel, he sort of helps you find the correct wildlife. And the voice in your head is happily chattering along as you're doing this. It's one of the first times since the incident on the island of the archipelago that this voice has actually been actively chatting to you again. They've seemed extremely upset since that incident, to the point where they've been not so vocal. But at this point, when you are looking for your animals in the ocean, they come along, they're like, "I like the look of that one. I think that one had nice scales. You should befriend it."
I will try. Hello! Just start yelling at things that can't hear me.
"Perhaps guess its name, I hear. They like it when you do that."
I'm going to call it Larry.
"I like that, yes. Perhaps you should name me at some point."
That's not a bad idea.
"I think I've earned one, don't you?"
I will think about it. I have to consult colleagues on a good name.
If you could hear a smile, that's exactly what happens. You hear almost the ambient sounds of joy echo throughout your brain as this creature seems pleased with that notion. Father Pavel, how are you recovering yourself?
I am going to take to my room and pull out my newly acquired book and my cross. I'm just going to use my cross as a bookmark and just sort of leaf through the pages, and every time I turn to a new page, I'm going to just move the bookmark back over onto the new page and just sort of have a read and try to focus on nothing and everything at the same time.
Of course. As you read, you get that feeling that so often comes to you in these moments of solace when you have a book and the ambient sounds that are enough to block out the roaring in your own mind. Sort of the roar of the ocean outside manages to block out the ever-encroaching guilt that remains just on the edges of your peripheral emotional state. You manage to block it out and focus. And as the worlds break and remake in your mind and you scan the pages for information, for logic, for answers, for anything that would make sense, you find things that do, and you find where the dots connect. And it's this simple action of finding the pieces of the puzzle that fit together nicely, that prove that it can be done. Even the most humongous and unknowable of puzzles have a picture on the box. And you, with the help of your friends, can find it. Between you will find yourselves a little more fortified coming back into the port here at Arensburg. You are all going to recover 2 conditions as you emerge onto the decks of the Latita and approach Arensburg Harbour. Even at sea, you can see the harbour and the magnificent Orsil Castle with its moats and fortifications standing tall in the middle of the bustling township. It seems to all the world perfectly preserved, and for a moment you can even imagine inside knights and nobles still walk the halls, playing their games of desperate politics and armoured in steel and finery. As you disembark, you find yourselves in busy harbour. It smells of fish, tar, spices, newly tanned leather, and livestock. Cargo is unloaded from boats and fish is being auctioned nearby. Dock workers jostle with people waiting for shipments at the local docks. Different languages are heard all over the harbour. German, Finnish, Swedish, Russian, Estonian, all colour buzz of conversation with their distinctive cadences. As you stand at this area, you see a scrawny-looking older fellow who had been perched against a waiting stagecoach, impatiently checking a timepiece, rather ornate pocket watch attached by a chain to a beautifully tailored waistcoat, and then checking a piece of paper in his other hand. With a scan of the harbour, brings himself over to the Latita, and then over to you, seemingly checks this piece of paper again, looks over at the boat, smiles, and purposefully strides over.
We have been spotted.
A welcoming committee.
Hello,
was-
hello. Pleasure to meet you all. Please allow me to introduce myself. I am the valet of the good Baron von Kaiserling. My name is Randolph Tiet. You may simply call me Randolph. I hear it is easier. I will be your travel today to the von Kaiserling residence, or to wherever you may see fit around the city before you wish to go there. His baronship has lent you the stagecoach for your stay here to use as you see fit. It is one amongst his fleet. You are also welcome to stay in the baron's guest wing. It is has equipped with enough rooms to house you all. There will of course be breakfast available in the morning.
Okay.
Is there any way that we don't stick out like a sore thumb?
No, sir, unfortunately not.
I think
You
it's your
need only
face.
look to us to prove that, yes.
Yes, I was told to look for a group of 4 arriving from the Latita with a distinctive look about them. You seem to fit the bill.
And your employer seems to pay it, so that is fair.
Yes, quite. Baron von Kaiserling is currently at home, awaiting your arrival. Madame von Kaiserling, dear Baroness Agnes, is currently unavailable at the house. She is currently indisposed at the local sanatorium, but I have been instructed to take you where you will. Yes.
You say that again.
I
Just
have
that
been
last sentence.
I have been instructed to take you wherever you will.
Ah.
Yes. The city is quite splendid. I do suggest a quick walk around to survey the town and its offerings. It is rather gorgeous, the architecture. Neo-Gothic. And as he goes on in this tirade, explaining the local architecture and the history. Could all of you please roll me a logic and vigilance test?
Oh, yes.
Happily.
Logic and vigilance. No.
May I have a follow-up question to that afterwards, though?
Pardon?
May I have a follow-up question after that, by the way?
Of course.
Ah, the Pavel streak is broken. The fates smile upon me.
I wish everybody to know that I pavelled it.
I have also pavelled.
Has
One.
everybody but...
Pavel
Is that
and
one success or one
Alexander.
Pavel?
One success.
Okay.
Ah,
All right. Who are our successes today?
2.
2 for Dr. Anki and 1 for Father Pavel. Fantastic. Father Pavel and Dr. Anki, as you are hearing the drone of this man going on, and I see the near Gothic nature of the castle itself mirrors an older period and a more refined age, wherein battlements were used. And as this speech does go on, you hear over the top of it, over the well-oiled activity of the docks and the chatters of passerby, you swear you hear something more. Angrier tones, louder voices, and one in particular rising above the others as though guiding the crescendo of the crowd. Dr. Anki, you tune into this voice and you notice this voice, its yelling seems oddly familiar. And the crowd is answering them.
aha. Well, that is certainly not something I would want wanted to hear from the Sky Voice. Okay. When you say familiar,
Yes.
I'm just gonna casually stroll off in the direction, allowing people who I am well versed in the history. I will just be going for a quick stroll and rejoin you shortly. Pavel talked to the person and observe exactly what it was. Who's shouting what at who now?
Okay, you go to investigate. Are you bringing anyone with you?
The man with the very big gun.
Alexander, you're going with. Okay. Ingrid, Pavel, are you remaining with the valet?
Yes, try not to
Yeah.
fall asleep.
Try not to fall asleep, yes. And as you can see, if you look within the castle itself, you can still see the place where the knights would joust. Nowadays, it has been turned into somewhat of a communal area for the local groups trying to recreate the magic of. And as you two walk away from this nonsense and towards the town, you divert into an alleyway and dip down into the township itself. It's not hard to find. You follow the consternation and the raised voices. Getting louder and louder until a church spire comes into view. And then, as the final houses pass, the church itself reveals itself. Outside of a magnificently ornate chapel, complete with multiple towers and beautiful stained glass windows, a man stands on the top of the steps and in front of the church's open doors, elevated above the crowd that surrounds him. He appears to be whipping them up into some sort of frenzy as he shouts a booming sentence, and the crowd responds with appreciative roars of angered agreement. Even from this distance, you would know him a mile off. It's your suspected, your ex-steward, Carl Linnaeus. He is in a priest's garb with a collar and a dark robes, and he is holding his arms up to the crowd as he shouts, "Will you allow the devil into your homes, your towns, your streets, your cities?" And the crowd responds, "No! Will you let these people cower you to his will? The people of Kali, the cursed kin of the devil themselves, most foul spawn. No! Will you stand with me to defend our families from machinations of the ones from below? Aye! Then listen to me close and true as we make this pact together. I, Father Cornelius, will swear I will allow no such beasts to do you harm. If you stand with me, we can purge this blight on our community." And that's as he finishes his speech that the loud roars of consternation all unify into a unified tone of extremely loud, appreciative anger as the crowd screams its agreement to the sky. After this, Linnaeus turns, gives them all an appreciative nod, and ushers them inside the church. Once they have entered, the doors shut behind them.
Sergeant? I believe I am the person asking the correct person to this, but it is considered somewhat sinful to burn a church with a congregation inside, correct?
I just need to get up somewhere high. Luckily for churches, they tend to put the person that we are wanting to shoot directly where I need them.
Well, with that said, I do not think that entering a town and suddenly killing the priest...
We will be burned. They will kill us. They are very fanatical by the shouting that we just heard. It would be unwise of us to shoot him in the middle of a sermon. However...
You will shoot him?
In the privacy of his own home, with a pillow over his face, yes.
I doubt the pillow will muffle the gunshot to the community, but I'm sure he will appreciate the silence.
No, but it will keep the blood from spewing from his mouth.
Okay, I will say that eventually you both make your way back to the group.
Yep.
As you make your way back to this, the lecturer has not stopped. The valet is still talking, but as you approach, he says, and I see your friends have returned. Good. His baronship is, in fact, waiting. If you would accompany me, I will show you to his residence.
May I ask something of you?
Yes, indeed, sir, yes.
The child.
Quite.
There is a priest that is interested in exorcising the child, yes?
Correct, there is, yes.
Is that by any chance a Father Cornelius?
You are quite right, yes. He is, within the past week or so, he has been visiting Miss Agnes frequently. She seems rather enamored of them. I particularly do not appreciate their presence here, neither does his baronship, as far as I know. Yes.
That is fine. It is good to know.
Yes. If you would come with me, and he does bundle you all into the stagecoach, and you make your way further into the city. With the roars of the crowd gone, there is simply the hustle and bustle of urban life here. Once again, the consternation of voices, trade, barter, the smells of various things, sort of the tar, bakeries, butcher shops as you go by, sort of the hustle and bustle of everyday life going about you as you make your way towards it. The von Kaiserling residence is a grand structure. Its gates are twisted wrought iron that reach up to the heavens above, collecting dustings of snow atop it that are shaken loose as the gates swing open to allow passage inside. And it is there where we will cut to our break ever so shortly. Folks at home, don't go anywhere. We will be back ever so shortly. We are just going to go nip away and take a quick 10 and get some drinks and snacks. So I suggest y'all do the same before we come back to our mystery here and they meet the Baron Hugo von Kaiserling. Also, we'll be giving a copy of the Investment Corp rulebook away again. We may not have a guest, but we will still be doing a giveaway. Ain't that fun? So don't go nowhere, and we'll be doing that after the break. See you in 10, folks.
Ah, babies.
Hi, everybody. I'm George.
And I'm Bob. We're the Shipping Goblins from Beetle and Grips. Today, we're going to talk about the amazing Map Vault Collection. And with the Map Vault Collection, you get a bunch of gorgeous two-sided maps, all scaled for standard minis.
Yeah, get yours now for the Map Vault Collection from Beetle and Grim, and all the players at your table will be revved up and hyper because the only thing they'll be able to say is...
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
Zoinks!
Yeah, do it again.
Zoinks!
Hello?
Who do you think you are?
Yes, Mr. Lillard.
You're just some goblin.
Yes, sir.
You can't just go off and use my
It's your
voice like
thing.
that. I have rights.
Completely. We just thought...
Wait,
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna take this right to
yes,
the
sir.
Beetle. Hey, Grim.
Thank you, sir.
What happened?
Matthew Lillard watches our show!
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back once again to the Mythic North, where we have found ourselves in the wonderful city of Arensburg. Our adventurers have been sent on a mission from their acquaintance Teddy Knight to see to it whether a child has in fact been possessed by a demon or if something else is afoot, or hot on the trails of one Carl Linnaeus who has been messing with them since the very beginning of this story. Before we get into that though, we have a copy of the cool rulebook to give away. Ain't that fun?
Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah, for sure. So during the course of the next scene, I will say that you folks in chat can be having a little discussion over which one of you will win the core rulebook today. All you need to do is answer the following question. Who do you think was comforting Dr. Anki during her moment of fortification on the ship over from the Isle of Sweden to this place? And our beloved Dr. Anki can choose her favorite answer.
You shouldn't have.
I've answered.
Oh, I've got to answer this one now as well.
Fuck you!
Said it was a powder box. What do you want from me?
Oh my god!
Not that kind of powder. Well, I mean, it's medicinal at this time of year.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's fine.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Cork.
Was it a skull within a skull?
Was it you again? Was it? What was the cue? The question was, who do you think was the mysterious pair of hands comforting our dear Dr. Anki as she drunk herself into a stupor on the passage over from Sweden? Who do you think that was? What relation do you think they have to our dear doctor? And the doctor herself will choose the answer.
Oh me, oh my.
We can fill the time by a very simple L. How did you get into DMing?
Oh Lord, goodness.
You're the special guest now.
Oh no, it's been turned around. It was kind of a weird one for me. I decided that I wanted to run D&D, but I didn't want to run D&D. I wanted to run D&D as a sci-fi universe, and it went horribly. I learned a lot from that, in that there are far better systems to run a sci-fi world in than trying to force D&D to be sci-fi. I created a gigantic universe with multiple solar systems, multiple star system, and multiple ways of getting around, only to have my players do cocaine on a starship for 5 episodes. So, needless to say, lessons were learned.
Yeah, I have no idea what it's like when you have a stringently made plot and your players just do drugs for the entire time.
Listen, the hotboxing was valid. We'd had a hard week.
Yeah, it's fair.
Indeed it was. Thank you, Gui in chat, who was one of my players at the time. Hashtag thunderclap. Okay, let's take a look at our answers. Ree, what have we got?
Oh goodness. Okay, so we
Yeah,
You're
have...
muted to us again, dear.
Oh, I'm muted to you. See, you guys can hear me right now, but they can't.
Okay, that was hilarious of face, but we didn't hear a thing.
I know. That was on
Just a
purpose.
mess.
The
It
chat
was
will know
just
what
the
I
effect.
said, but you guys will never know what I said. Right. So, we have cocaine. The answer is cocaine.
Great.
We have... Is it a skull within another skull? Her nan. That one was me. Her husband's ghost, because she's a widow, isn't she? Was it plasticity, himself comforting his own character?
Wow. I think T wants Dr. Anki just as traumatized as I do, not gonna lie.
That weird drunk auntie that everyone has. You know the one.
That's...
The mermaid who
several.
Pavel told to eat her and fuck off.
Good flashback
or
to the Herring King.
her own hands from the future consoling her on what is about to happen. Or Pavel wearing gloves.
Great. Dr. Anki, what's your favorite of those?
Okay, there are three definite favorites. Alan Williamson's I think was Her Own Hands from the Future is great, however, I doubt she survives, personally.
There
So,
is one
we'll see.
more. There is also mannequin hands with soft velvet gloves comforting Dr. Anki.
Oh, gross. Oh, horrible.
Out of
Hate
sheer
that.
creepiness, no, but I like your
that.
moxie.
Yeah.
Feck. Look, out of sheer anti-nepotism, I can't pick myself, even though I thought that was a very sweet sentiment. The most correct answer would, in fact, be the ghost of her dead husband, her dear Tom.
Gooey, could you please, Gooey804, could you please message one of our moderators with your email address and your name, and we will get that book across to you shortly. Congrats!
That's anybody with a clean sword.
Yeah. We will get back into our story, that having been done. Where you guys are entering the von Kaiserling residence, the Grand Manor House, past the iron gates through to the passage inside. The manor house itself sits beside Arensburg Castle and the bay, providing a beautiful view over both as the stagecoach takes you through a wide path leading up to the manor house, surrounded on all sides by thick greenery. Could all of you please roll logic and observation?
Logic.
I am too emotionally carried away in order to figure out what my dice pool is. Logic and observation, you say?
Yes, please.
I really should just forget. I should just
Auntie
stop
Pavel.
rolling. I should just stop rolling. I got nothing. Again, I don't think I've succeeded a single roll.
Oof.
Okay, so did we have 2 Pavels and 2 successes?
No, three Pebbles, 1 success.
No, I didn't Pavel, I do.
I didn't
Yeah.
Pavel.
No, I did.
I had 2 successes.
Oh, cool. So yeah, 2-2.
Anki and Alexander, you both tie on 2 successes. Fantastic. As you look around this place, you see that the garden was once well maintained. Carefully, even painfully manicured, with topiary bushes forming elegant shapes and hedgerows set into neat mazes around water features. However, the topiaries are bristling with excess foliage. They almost bow under the weight of it, and the mazes have grown to twice the size as they bear the brunt of heavy thickets. There are clear signs that the foliage is growing too thickly and too fast for the gardeners to keep up with, despite their best efforts. You can clearly see that they've tried, to no avail, to trim it back. Furthermore, as you peer into the patches of overgrowth, you see it's teeming with life. Foxes scamper between foxholes, a hare gives you a sage look before darting behind a tree, and the birds weigh down the boughs of the thickets. Clearly, something is making these things grow and calling these animals here. Something beyond simple nature itself. The house itself is a construction of palisades and balconies hung with climbing vines under battlements and turrets. A construction architecturally similar to the castle, either built at the same time or simply constructed in the same style. Whatever the case, the result is stunning. As you reach the end of the drive and the stagecoach trundles to a stop in front of the large double doors, having rounded to the front of the gorgeous fountain, you disembark and the stagecoach parks up to the side. Emerging from the double doors is a woman of about 30 years old, wearing a finely dressed practical dress and apron, red hair under a bonnet, dusting of freckles across her delicate features. Pinned to her lapel is what looks like a blade of grass that has been twisted into the shape of a four-leaf clover. As you disembark and she approaches you, the stagecoach trundles to the side and parks up, and you get a closer look. You realize it's a brooch. The woman approaches you, says, greetings. I assume you're the master's guests here today.
You assume correctly.
Fantastic. I am Aino Ransalu. Just call me Aino. I'm the wet nurse of the child. He has asked me to come and fetch you. I'm also just the attendant to his lordship. He keeps me around. Yes, he is waiting in the parlor. If you would follow me.
And lead the way, and we shall follow in your footsteps.
She does a small curtsy and leads the way. You are ushered inside along tall corridors, vaulted ceilings, polished marble, dramatic portraiture, and beautiful sculptures line the pathways here. And as you're going, Aino says, listen, as you reach the door, it's sort of a large ivory double doors. They are currently shut. She pauses, hesitates with her hand on the handle. Listen, I would ask you to go gentle on him. The master has had a very rough time, and in my opinion, he speaks of things he shouldn't, and pries where those of limited view should not pry. His cousin knew how to see such things. He does not. I will say, once you are done speaking with him, I would appreciate it if you come back and talk to me. I may be able to give you further guidance, but the master has asked to speak to you first, and so it shall be. Just, be gentle.
We will observe caution.
Good.
I won't, but I will be careful.
Fair. She presses the handle and leads you inside. You are ushered inside, and you can hear, as you go in, the doors open, you can hear winding, delicate music. Very quiet, but its source is lilting, light, and insistent. Although the melody is played masterfully. It's multi-layered and playful, with strands of sound that dance around each other and reverberate like a chorus through the halls. There's a man of about 30, looking out to sea in this fine bay window, sat on plush cushions, dressed incredibly finely. His slender build is clad in a loose-fitting shirt, breeches and a waistcoat, his nut brown hair reaching his shoulders. His fingers move deftly and quick across the string instrument, creating beautiful music as you are ushered inside. And Aino announces you. Your guest's here to see you, sir. He looks over, stops playing as she gives another curtsy, shuts the door behind you. He puts the instrument to one side. Those of you who have researched it, you know this to be a cantele. He stands, smiles a little sadly as he does so. I see you've made it without trouble. That's good. Are you the members of the society?
The ones that you requested, yes.
Oh, good, excellent, good. Yes, great. Thank you for coming. I really do appreciate it. Is my cousin with you?
Unfortunately, the good sir could not attend in person.
Oh.
There were some complications with travel, I believe.
That's fair. Either way, thank you for coming. I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what's going on. My wife is in a sanatorium. My child is, he doesn't seem himself anymore. And I didn't know where else to turn. It was either this or the police, and, well, Mummy and Daddy didn't like that last time, and they sure as hell won't like it this time either.
Your parents?
Quite.
Can I see the baby?
Yes, sure. Once we're done here, I will get Ano to escort you to his nursery, and you can observe him. He's I think you'll find he's rather quiet for his age. He was quite vocal. Couldn't get a wink of sleep, but ever since.
How old is the child?
3 weeks, 4 weeks.
I see.
4 weeks now. Yes.
My apologies. Go on.
Yes, it's ever since his mother. Ever since the incident, he's been a lot quieter.
And there were some amount of details in the letter, albeit I would not fault you for perhaps not putting too much to paper on something that will pass through many hands before arriving at its destination. Would you be able to elucidate on the nature of the incident?
Yes, it was a week ago, I want to say. I woke to find my wife gone. I obviously grew concerned. I sent out my staff to go and find her. I went out in my nightgown and my Munchables and was running around like a madman all around the city trying to find her. I noticed that Ewan's crib was also empty, and I got even more concerned as the child appeared to also have been taken. I feared for kidnapping. And then my staff reported back to me that she had been found at the sauna of the sanatorium trying to drown the boy. And when I tried to talk to her, I tried to ask her why and what happened and why she would do such a thing. And she just keeps insisting that the child is possessed and that she's gotten in contact with a local priest who, frankly, seems like a madman. And I'm absolutely, I have no idea what to do. I'm worried, I'm aghast, I'm upset. This was supposed to be a good year for us. I've come into quite a substantial amount of money from my research, and well, it's all got awry.
Sir Kaiserling.
Yes.
I'm mentioned...
so sorry. I don't know any of your names. Could you please elucidate?
How rude of us. I am Dr. Anki Salo. These are my colleagues, Ingrid, Sergeant Kruger, and Father Pavel.
A pleasure. I'm so sorry. I am Baron Hugo von Kaiserling. Just call me Hugo. The Baron title it is basically just a formality at this point. Anyway, continue, good doctor.
Heavy lies the crown.
Many titles are formalities, she says, looking very pointedly at Pavel. and then a Danky.
Well, as you went over your story, there are some things that are of immediate concern, or at the very least import. You mentioned both the sanitarium and the priest. Would you be able to tell us about the former first, with regards to how it is that she came in there on her own? Is it a well-run establishment, reputable?
Yes, it's the best in the Bay. It's they do mud baths, they do saunas. The doctor there is I believe, goodness, what's his name? I've plumb forgotten. Anyway, I'm sure it's not all that important. They're all slightly odd in my opinion, and it always gives me the creeps. That place. I assume you're of a sounder mind than those folks are. But no, they the services that they do offer, they are at least, clean and well, it's more like a hotel than it is a sanatorium in that respect, I suppose. But she seems to have gotten in with help around the back of this place, and made her way into the sanatorium without the actual proprietors knowing about it. We still don't know who allowed her to get in, although I have my theories.
Please share.
Well, it's got to be the bloody fanatic priest, hasn't it? He's been sniffing around here day after day. You might see him shortly, actually. He's been a nuisance, absolute nuisance.
We actually saw him on our way here.
Oh, did you now?
Quite the firebrand, by all accounts.
Oh, God, tell me about it.
The people in town like him?
Unfortunately, yes. There's quite a lot of superstition amongst people who serve the dockyards here. Quite a lot of sailors still hold to older ways and older traditions, and if one knows the particular superstitions to pull on, unfortunately, as a crowd, they're quite easily manipulated.
Would you happen to know if this Father Cornelius is a recent addition to the town, or somebody with me is?
He is. He absolutely is. I don't know where he came from. He claims to be the brother of one of the priests who just went away on sabbatical. Whatever the case, he's a lunatic. He's an absolute lunatic. The second he came in, he started making nice with everybody. The first I heard of him was from Agnes, who was telling me how excellent he was and that we should get our baby exercised. Ridiculous. Ridiculous sentiment.
I know. It can't
So-
even hold its head up, let alone run.
Precisely.
Out of curiosity then, when your child was born, have they been baptized?
Oh gosh, that is the other problem. You see, they have not. I was away on business, and the baptism had to be postponed. And Agnes told me not to go, but it was a big lecture. I couldn't miss it. I couldn't let everyone down, and frankly, my funding rides on me being there, so I had to attend. And
No, you could only let some people down.
I know, but we did have to postpone it. We had it scheduled for this week. We had it scheduled for today, in fact, but no, it's obviously everything's gone a bit awry.
Would it have been something scheduled before the arrival of Father Cornelius, by incident?
Well, yes. Now you come to mention it, yes.
How about that?
I have other question.
Please, Ingrid,
fire away.
the floor is yours.
When did little baby stop being so loud and itself and start being quiet and less itself?
It was shortly before the incident, actually. It was when Agnes started taking a turn before she went to the sanatorium to apparently murder our baby. She was telling me that it didn't seem right, that granted he was quieter, but I thought perhaps he'd just entered a quiet phase. This is my first baby. I wasn't sure if they did that. No, he apparently it was unusual and strange. Apparently he's bigger now, but he's a growing boy. Of course he's bigger now than when he was born. Apparently noticeably, but I certainly haven't noticed anything. Again,
3 weeks, yes.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. 4 weeks now, yes. I don't know. Ask Aino.
I have other question.
Please fire away.
Do you remember anything else happening during the day or night that little baby went from loud wah-wah baby to quiet reserved baby?
Well, sort of. Now you come to mention it, this is going to sound ludicrous. It was simply me waking up in the night and not remembering things properly, but I did awake I awake in the middle of the night. I noticed that the windows were open, and I was sure I'd shut them, or at least I was sure I had our staff shut them before I went to bed that evening. But no, they were wide open that evening, so I shut them again, and I must have been dreaming. I swear, because there were in the tree line sort of green luminescence, almost bioluminescent eyes, sort of in the trees, and I thought they were watching, but goodness, I assume I was dreaming. It's preposterous, but again, after that night, things started to have gone downhill.
Surely in the harbor area there would be many cats.
Oh, precisely. Even if it wasn't a dream, it was probably me just seeing a cat or a fox and getting overexcited.
I have
Your,
other question. Oh, go on then, Alex, if you must.
Sergeant, yes.
Your balaleka there, the instrument you have.
Cantele.
Oh, my cantele,
Oh, my
yes.
apologies, it looks very similar. Where did you get it?
You see, during my dissertation, I was writing Songs of Shadow and Fire. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's been quite.
I have.
Yes. No. I was writing it at the local village of Kali. I was writing it on the subject of the craters there. My theory is that they have been created by meteorites instead of the volcanic activity that previous scholars have thought true. When I was there, I was getting absolutely nowhere with local myths and legends. The locals didn't seem to really want to talk about it. They seemed a little closed off, didn't seem to want to trust me particularly, which is fair, obviously. I'm an outsider from a city, and yes, I suppose I didn't really avail myself well to them. Bad first impressions, possibly. But eventually, I warmed myself to the keeper of the inn, Lilo. She seems rather pleasant. And she gave me this instrument and said if I learned to play it, then perhaps the locals might warm to me if I show an active interest in their culture other than just prying, which I took to heart. I did learn the instrument. I'm getting quite good, if I say so myself. And she actually let me play at the inn a few times, which was rather lovely. But that was how I got my the real meat of my dissertation. Was after I'd learned to play this, I managed to get more out of the locals and have more in-depth chats about the folklore.
As a quick, Pavel, did you share what you'd learned?
Yeah, I'd say that I would have sent it to the rest of the group. Is this individual the same person that wrote the book that I acquired from the library?
Yes.
Would you like him to sign it for you?
I was going to say, I might just pull the book out and be like, I actually have a copy of your book. Would you mind signing it for me?
I absolutely will. Yes, how flattering. My. Yes. He does receive it from you, pick up a quill from a nearby writing desk, sign it with a flourish, and hand it back. He says, well, you're all rather pleasant folk. Far more pleasant than others of my cousin's friends I've met. They always got along better with Ano than me.
Ingrid, did you have a second question or third?
I think I did, but somewhere in my brain cells they have gone.
I will look for them later if you permit me. With that said, with regards to the instrument and considering that we do have a copy of the book, I was simply curious, Pavel, if I'm not mistaken, you have a certain affinity for music, yes?
Yes, that's correct.
It has very little bearing to our investigation and anything else, but since we are here and having a pleasant discussion, would you mind if we could take a quick look at it?
Oh, please, by all means. And he does hand it over.
What is it made of?
Can you please roll me, let's say, logic and vigilance, or empathy and observation, whichever's better.
Just straight up human bones.
Well, I think what this is, my friend, is solidified fear. It's fear made manifest. It is a nightmare.
Oh, an old friend at last. Vigilance and logic was one of the options, yes?
Indeed it was, yes.
While they're looking over the instrument, can I have a look outside? You said that the whole place is like teeming with wildlife and stuff. And the idea was that this instrument spreads that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And we also know that trolls really don't like it when you mess up a deal. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That just clarifying all those things just in my brain.
Quite correct.
Just for asking, is anybody aiding in the investigation of the item, or do we roll separately?
Is anyone aiding our Dr. Ranky?
I shall do. If you.
Okay, Pavel, add an extra die for Father Pavel's help, please, Dr. Ranky. Alexander and Ingrid are staring out the window. We will get to them shortly.
Pavel, count 15, boys.
How many successes did you roll total?
No.
None.
No.
Really?
No.
I thought you were holding up 4. God, I was so...
No. I was counting dice. I have 8 of them, and I'm pissed. I would like to push if you're available.
Go for it. Please, take
Do!
Ooh, yay, fantastic. You ruminate on this instrument, and it's as you do so that you realize your fears are quite correct. It is
I hate being right.
From a pike's jawbone and hair from a horse that should not have hair follicles that bloody large.
Wainamoinen's
massive.
teeth.
Yes. Also, an additional thing you notice about this thing, when you hold it, it's almost like when you hold your hand against something very hot, and you feel that buzzing of electrostatic energy that runs along the surface, and you almost can't bear to put your hand on it.
Oh no.
It feels like that as you take it in your hands, and you almost like hot potato it for a bit. You have read enough from the Society's vast library and researched enough in the occult artifacts area to know what trollcraft feels like by this point, and that is what that is.
Oh, that is actually so condition, I'm imagining.
And your condition of the day, is going to be, let's say frightened, as you realize that, yeah, this is
Fear is,
pure
in fact-
trollcraft.
Hey, Jarrus, you were right. It is in fact solidified fear.
Literally solidified fear, yeah.
I would
I'm just
wish
happy
to
the
ask a
hand vine
question
didn't grow.
Of the Baron, while I'm staring out at the window at the trees.
What would you like to do? Sorry, Ingrid?
I'm gonna ask a question to the Baron whilst I'm staring out the window at the tree line, and I'm
Go
gonna
for
ask him. So, what song was it that they taught you to play?
Okay, as you ask this, Alexander and Ingrid, please roll me logic and vigilance. As the Baron says, well, it was a local tune. I believe it was called the Song of the Falling Star.
I potentially add my bloodhound.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
1 dice. Okay. Fantastic.
I succeeded.
Excellent. Good job. Good. We will wait for our dear sergeant.
Wait. Got one more.
I would like to push my luck, please.
Go for it. Yeah, for sure. Bloody hell.
So Baron says that I think the record of Pavel's is 22.
Flipping hell.
And
That's got to
we're
be
at-
higher than it's ever been, right?
We're at 16 now if we count that Pavel that Jarrus just made.
We always count.
I'm
There we go.
collating some dice together because I feel that the dice gods are hating on me. So
So we still have 4.
I'm using all of my sets.
Iteration in this dancery.
Yes.
How many? Fantastic.
Success.
Okay, as you both stare out of the window and down into the grassy verge below, Ingrid, you notice a rustling in the bushes. Directly below is a creature standing on its hind legs, staring directly at you. And before you can make out what it is, it darts into a bush. Alexander, you get
Aye.
a better look. You notice that it is a hare stood on its hind legs, staring directly at you. And as you do so, you hear in the back of your mind, "Hello there," and it's this voice that chimes in the back of your head, in the base of your skull, hitting your amygdala directly in the center, that sends you spiraling into fear, and you stagger back from the window, unsure what you just saw. Please take the frightened condition.
I hate it.
You can tell that Ingrid saw something because she has the same like light up of that she did when she was looking at stuff in the ocean. Just like a thing.
So just-
oh, it's gone.
Just for clarity, that was a normal sized rabbit, like a hare, on its hind legs, but looking at us, right?
Yeah.
But was it like how hares sometimes sort of sit on their hind legs, or was this thing like stood up?
It was stood up.
Oh, good,
Oh,
great,
proper cat
excellent.
turns
Wearing
on
a
its
small
hind
waistcoat and was late.
Yeah.
Balls. Run.
Run, Alice.
No, yeah, okay.
Run.
Great. The Baron says, "Dear Sergeant, are you feeling quite all right?"
I've staggered backwards and I now have slung my gun to
Oh.
my hands,
Oh,
and I am
goodness.
aiming out the window, trying to see where it is, and it's not there anymore. And my hands are starting to waver slightly.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well,
He saw a thing in forest. It's okay. He jumpy.
I start humming Alex in Wonderland. No reason.
amazing.
I didn't see it.
I love that. The Baron says, you're all rather excitable, aren't you?
It comes with the field.
Yes, I have met my cousin, I'm quite aware. Now, if you have anything else to ask of me, please do. Otherwise, I have I must go and meet with my wife, shortly.
Did he actually answer my question about what song it was that he was?
Yes. He did say that he was told that it was called The Song of the Falling Star.
Does he have sheet music?
No. Interestingly, it's told through word of mouth and disseminated that way.
Fair enough.
And it was decided against putting into the thesis for the sake of artistic integrity and protecting your sources, surely.
But I found it wasn't specifically needed to name such a song in that way. The songs that I wrote down were translations of the wording itself. It's a little it's odd because whilst it is in a recognizably Swedish tongue, it is old. Antiquated. The language itself used in the song is at least a couple of centuries outdated.
Well, folk tradition tends to be that way on occasion, but more so than usual, judging by your tone.
Very much more so than usual. Even in rural communities, language tends to keep up with the common parlance of the time. This is very much not the case. It is almost like this song has existed in its own microcosm, unaffected by the changing languages for centuries.
That is interesting.
It is indeed, isn't it? It's a wonder they've managed to keep it alive.
But yes, we will.
And
leave
you
him
have
be.
not transcribed the words.
Maybe we will leave him.
Sorry, Ingrid.
Yes.
Ingrid, you talk, Ingrid.
I was just saying we could now leave him be. He's very busy, man, and we have a baby to see.
Oh, yes, of course.
You keep reminding us, yes.
I know. Are you outside? And as he calls, the door opens again and says, yes, sir, I'm just here. What would you need? Could you please show our guests to Edward's chambers? They wish to survey the situation before they investigate further. Oh, yes, my pleasure, sir. And she does sort of usher you all out, shut the doors of the salon of the lounge area, and say, "Hello, yes, Gruger."
Can I just make a small insight into how they're interacting with each other?
Yeah, of course you can.
Because I have an inkling he's having an affair. And I
Okay.
don't know why, but I just want to see if that might be something.
Don't worry. I
I don't
have
know
the same
why,
inkling.
but it's also one of the things that might be like a test.
Sure,
You know, like
go
a
for
broken
it.
promise or something like that.
Empathy observation, please,
Yeah.
good sir. Yeah,
I'd like
and
to help because
if you're
Ingrid
helping, add
also
an
had
extra
that.
dice. Yeah, for sure. You can sort of exchange glances and give them two sus looks.
She cares.
I
a
cannot
lot
help you
about
even if I wanted to.
If you paddle this, I will genuinely, I will find a hat and eat it wholesale.
Please don't.
That is a dangerous precedent to set, Mr.
Oh,
Skyboys.
no.
You didn't.
Sir.
Oh, hang on. I may not have. I have one more dice. Sorry, I
Yes,
forgot to roll.
me.
them.
Sir, you may be dining on hat tonight.
I think I might be.
Schwapparo gravy.
Headwear for dessert.
Would the sir kindly like a combination of either a flat cap or a fedora with gravy?
As long as you provide horseradish, I'm all in. Cool.
The hell out of that.
Good lord. Would you like to push your luck?
Ingrid, how do you feel?
It's not my luck I'm pushing. So yes.
You know what?
No.
You know what? I'll give you this. I will make a roll for them. and we will see if they get anything. If they also get nothing, I will give you information. If not, then you will get nothing from them. Okay.
Never wanted a
They
Pavel.
also pavelled it.
Does that
Fantastic.
count towards a Pavel count?
I
Because
think
it's
it may
technically
do.
There were
Okay.
two Pavels.
Yeah, sure.
You
We're coming for you, Dane.
You survey both the Baron and wet nurse Ano as she closes the door. You notice that their eye contact doesn't linger at all. She appears to be completely professional, going about her business. In fact, they seem a little standoffish with each other.
Okay. That's actually, yeah, that helps. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Yeah. It narrows down what I'm thinking.
Yeah, she shuts the door, sort of sighs, says, well, that seemed to go well. Well done. If you will follow me, I'll take you to the boys' chambers.
Mm-hmm.
She will lead you up through these winding corridors, staircases, all very neatly laid out. Again, elegant sculptures, beautiful portraiture, heart-achingly painted. It seems like absolutely glorious illuminations. There are even scripts of extremely expensive books that have been copied wholesale and printed and framed along the walls here, giving the place a sort of aged smell of old tomes and fresh ink. As you are ushered into a room on the second floor, is a beautifully decorated nursery, all white walls, pink and blue stylings, golden embellishments, a lovely chandelier which is lit and shedding fractaled light throughout the room, a crib in the center surrounded by bookcases and toys, all very well made. There's a tiny rocking horse in the corner that seems to be for like when he reaches enough to use legs of his own accord, and it seems to be able to fit a very small child, but it looks like something that belongs in a very large dollhouse. It's rather amusing. As you go inside, the crib is empty. Everything seems completely undisturbed from whence the baby was last here. It seems like like the room has been paused mid-activity and the baby simply removed. Ano ushers you all in. She doesn't bother shutting the door. Says, well, this is it.
Where is baby?
Bear with. She goes outside, looks around. Edward, goodness gracious.
This is a 3-week-old baby.
No, I'm
one
not
of the
a
staff.
pediatrician. As in fact, I'm quite the opposite.
Corner's one
What
of the
the
staff.
actual fuck?
Sort of, where's the baby sort of thing, and they have a small
You're a
conversation.
wet nurse.
Yes, when I'm not attending to the Baron's every need. Unfortunately, my duties
see.
are somewhat split. And she does... You're left in the room for about 2 minutes before she comes back with the child in hand. She says,
Every
so sorry. Apparently, the doctor at the local sanatorium was asking to see the child. I have summarily told him no. He's tried to get around me by asking one of the younger staff. She walks in, lays the baby down in the crib. As she does so, all of you please roll me empathy observation.
I will also require name of doctor. No.
Oh, Anki, you can actually roll me logic and medicine if you would like.
I would like to push my luck.
Logic and observation.
Oh no. Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Is this with or without medical equipment? Because I think this is just observation.
It's just observation. I will say you don't get that for this, unfortunately.
Now that makes perfect sense. I'm not putting people into life, I'm putting them out of it.
A Pavel twice.
I have paveled once for this role.
Okay.
And
Three.
I
also
will push.
paveled.
3 successes.
Okay, step
Alexander
up, not me.
Pavled. Dr. Anki, was that 2, sorry?
No, it was my
This one?
lamentation of paveling. And my
Oh.
only thing that I'm good at.
Pavel, you notice this child is significantly larger than it should be. For a 3-week-old, it seems more like 2 months. And it seems like it will probably be able to use that rocking horse sooner rather than later, which is not normal for a 3-4 week old baby. You also notice that, again, as the wet nurse said, he is, as Hugo said, sorry, he is very calm, this child. He seems to survey all of you with a stare beyond his years. It's a very wise look in the eyes of a very young baby, and it throws you off slightly. Those of you who paddled, weird looking baby. Ingrid, however, you stare at this child, and as you give him this a fixed stare, he locks eyes with you, and he smiles. And as he does so, he brings his hands up to his mouth and appears to be chewing on something. As he does this, Ingrid, your eyes seem to white out all of a sudden. You're not sure whether it's your own intrinsic magics or something this child is doing, but your fingers are buzzing like that electrostatic energy that you felt when you were using the skull to speak to the dead before. And you feel this begin to tune in, and the world around you almost seems to... It seems to stop. Your friends beside you, suspended animation. The world grinding to a halt. And the baby in the crib, for just a moment, you see something else in its place. About the same size, a stocky-looking infant creature sits in the crib, gnawing on a forked tail with long fangs protruding from its top and bottom teeth as it grins at you and burbles something unintelligible.
That's adorable.
It's a patch.
As you watch this, you come back to yourself as you blink. And as you open your eyes again, the scene is back to normal. Your friends are once again moving around. The baby is tailless and fangless. Everything seems ordinary, but you are going to take the frightened condition for me, as this baby has unveiled its true form. And it's almost an exhilaration for you, though. This isn't fright in its usual sense. This is a fright in a intrigued yet terrified sense.
This is the horror movie watching frightened.
Absolutely. And you find yourself, instead of wanting to run away, you find yourself wanting to get closer.
Can I hold baby?
Oh, yes, he's rather heavy, but sure.
No. Hello?
He's husky, pigeon toe husky.
You pick him up. This baby Edward, again, he's rather heavy, he's quite chunky, quite a chunky child. And as you're holding him, he reaches out and purposefully grabs your nose.
Ha!
It's surprisingly strong grip for a baby.
This small one has grabbed my features.
Be careful
You
he
are
doesn't
correct.
steal it.
Hold the baby
need
there
it.
for a second, will you?
Okay.
Elle, does this room have a fireplace?
Yeah, it does.
What are you gonna do?
Hold
Does
on.
this room have a fire poker?
Yes.
Sergeant?
I just walk over, I grab the fire poker. Is it made of iron?
You're not sure.
We'll have a look. and I just walk over, and I assume it's not been used much. It's not like got soot or anything on it that much, or maybe a little.
It has been quite
It
heavily.
has been used, of
It's
course
dead
it has,
of
because
winter,
yeah, the child's been in. And I just walk over, and I put my hand over the spiky bit because I don't want them to think that I'm going to stab the child.
Eno is watching this with intent.
And I just
Baby.
put the poker on the child's arm.
Sir, if you could,
Does it react?
you get just close enough. You raise your arm, and Ano slides in front of you. Says, "If you could not do that, that would be great."
It is a part of the testing.
Sergeant?
Make sure.
What exactly are you attempting to do?
He's a good baby.
Because, frankly, it seems like you're about to threaten a baby with a poker, and I will not have it,
going
sir.
to attack the child. It is merely the first sections of my testing.
Sergeant?
It is the first port of call. It is simple. Many demonically possessed creatures do not entirely like it when iron or silver or religious metals are placed upon their skin. If this is a regular baby, then it will be not harmed in the least.
Oh, give it here. And she does try and take it off of you.
Okay.
Dr. Anki, what would you like to do?
Oh, never mind. I was just making damn sure that nothing happened. Yes, that.
Cool. She takes the poker off of you and then holds it out to the baby.
Mhm.
Edward looks at Ingrid, looks
Yes.
over at you, Alexander, dead in the eyes, unflinching, bright blue eyes.
Hmm.
And then looks back at the poker, reaches out and grabs hold of it with his little chubby baby hand.
Baby hand.
Simple.
Congratulations, we have now armed the infant.
And he very much goes, da 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 da, and starts like waving. And she's like, oh, no, you don't. Pries his hand off
That
of
is a
it.
3-week-old baby.
Yeah, he immediately goes to put it in his mouth. And she's like, no, and takes the poker away.
I take it and I'll put it back in the thing.
Yeah, and she's like, satisfied?
Has he teeth?
Oh, I believe, he certainly said he should.
Pointy
He's burbling happily as you bounce him up and down. He seems to be thoroughly enjoying this interaction with you, Ingrid. He says, well, no, not currently, I don't think. Bear with. And she does go over and have a look. He's like, no, not at the minute.
As the wet nurse, I would imagine you would be the first to know.
Yes, he has been growing significantly, though. It's useful to check.
Precisely.
Yep.
I will take out my giant platinum ass cross and try to touch it against the baby's arm.
No reaction.
Still nothing. Okay.
It does seem to react to the cold of it, though. It goes da da da. Just keeps being bounced up and down by Ingrid.
I would
Well-
like to subtly check the baby's butt for a tail.
You can't see one.
Good.
Miss Saino, you mentioned to us to, and just to reiterate, it's just us and the wet nurse here, right?
Yes,
And the baby, of course.
indeed.
You did mention to us to go easy on the father.
No, on Hugo, on the Baron, not
Oh.
not the father. No.
Then I believe you have some
Wait,
explaining to
so
do,
who's
please.
the baby's father?
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant that blooming priest who's been coming around, Father Cornelius.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
Okay. Can we roll something to tell if she's bullshitting with that? Because it sounds incredibly like she's bullshitting us.
Yeah, go for it.
I just don't want to be the one to do it. But I will try. What am I doing?
Empathy observation, please, my guy.
I am adrift at a sea of failures before I've even rolled. I say and roll a 1. Success.
Nice.
He appears to be completely honest.
Okay. It was just too good to be true.
Yeah, it seems to be a genuine misunderstanding.
Yes, sorry. Paternal figures and all that.
Been a long week.
You can say that twice. For
And I have.
52 of them. Yes, yes, the child's father, to go easy on, but you also gave inclinations for us to believe that you yourself would be more well-versed in manners of, shall we say, an unorthodox persuasion.
Quite.
And today is not, I believe, a Wednesday.
No, you are quite right.
Hmm.
Yes, Alexander.
Can I just pull up a chair? Because I assume, Ingrid, are you sitting down and bouncing this baby in your
No,
knee?
I am fully standing. And
You're
just
fully
waving
standing.
The baby
Okay.
up and
But you are
down.
also tiny.
I
So I'll
am.
pull up a chair and sit. And can I try manipulation and empathy to just kind of get the child to like me?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Yes, manipulating infants, classic Kruger.
2 6s.
Great.
Why is this the role that I'm good at?
Yeah, you sit down beside Ingrid and you begin to get along with the kid. He
Yeah.
seems really receptive. You pick up one of the toys that's like over on its side. You get the idea that it being nearest to the crib, it's the one that gets played with a lot. You bring it over. It's like a little horse with a very, very long flowing mane. It's actually got 6 legs rather than 4. And you mime it trotting along the leg and trotting along the baby, and he sort of grabs at it, chews on its head. And you begin to make nice with this kid. He seems thoroughly receptive to you. At one point, he sort of holds his hands out like this, makes grabby hands.
He wants to go to you. Here you go.
I pick him up.
Yeah.
He's very much like my little one.
He's very cuddly. At one point, he wraps his hands around your neck and goes to sleep on your shoulder.
Okay. But just to be clear, the little one, is that what you call your gun, or is he actually a father?
We have back home.
I am once more made a fool for my assumptions.
Don't worry.
Somebody fell in
I'm-
love with you?
I made that unlovable. I say, cradling a small toddler.
He's like fully out for the count on Alexander's shoulder here. Is there anything else
Then
you
I
guys
throw
would
him in
like
the fire.
to? Of course. Is there anything else you guys would like to do in this scene before you? Go on?
Yes. And that is to ask the wet nurse, I know. Given your interactions with the Baron's cousin,
Right.
and the way that you have provided us guidance in how to deal with their father, well, you lead me to believe that you are somewhat versed with, as I mentioned, somewhat unorthodox manners and fields and etc. Is that have you
Will you not
worked
be
with
shy?
others in this field, essentially?
Yes. Not closely. I don't particularly like to broadcast my skill. I did not find it prudent to join up with my
Colleagues.
my master's cousin in his adventures. However, I have many times provided him with some information and knowledge should he need it. He, yes, I keep an eye on things here for him.
Well, then the matter of the Cantala and the matter of the priest should probably be something that you would be interested in.
Quite.
The former being Trollmaid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you knew this. Excellent.
I had assumed.
You wouldn't happen to have any more information with regards to how the man came into possession of it and if that has violated any sort of compact or anything to this?
I am unsure, but I think to get confirmation on that, you would probably need to visit the local village of Kali. The proprietor of the inn there was someone who he talked to quite extensively. And from what I understand, Teddy has also talked to her quite significantly.
This does not surprise me, yet still it disappoints me. Well, other than that, the only thing I will say is your suspicions of the priests are very well founded. In so much it is not a blasphemy, I will claim that he is the closest as we get to a walking devil in these lands.
Good. Well, in that
What did you
case... Oh, right. Goodness gracious. In that case, I will be extra vigilant around him. Thank you for letting me know that our illusions were not unfounded. She goes over and picks up the baby from you, sleeping. He's got drool down his chin.
What I will say is plainly
yes.
this, Avo. I know that your profession requires you to be tending to your master and everything, but in this particular case, there might be some cause for pushback with regards to anything taking your mind of this baby.
Quite right.
That is all.
Okay. Thank you. I will take that in
And you
mind.
too.
And she does exit the room with the baby in her arms. And as she goes away, she says, "And it's feeding time for you, little man. Goodness gracious, you eat a lot nowadays." And the baby goes, "Bah, bah, 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 bah," and burbles happily. Just nonsensical.
I was going to mention to maybe like Kruger that it could also be the wet nurse if she's providing him
It
with
is
milk.
distinctly possible.
Wait,
Be
what?
wet nurse at what?
Wet nurse is obviously the job of a wet nurse is to feed the baby.
Yes.
We'll do
Not
this
that part,
outside.
but why
We're
is
not
it
in earshot of the wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Are you leaving the manor house? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to go to the forest.
It could be what the baby is
Okay.
eating rather than a curse or some other.
Oh no, that's
reason.
definitely a demon baby.
Explain
Okay.
I'm
yourself.
sorry.
What?
As you're all going outside here, you see the valet leaning against the stagecoach. He gives you a bow as you walk towards the forest, and Ingrid begins kicking at a nearby bush as you all have this conversation.
Yep, 100%. Just kicking a bush.
It seemed to be of bushy make. Excellent. High-grade shrubbery.
No, it had like long tail and sharpy teeth, and it was all like. But then
Ingrid,
it was all
what?
like.
Ingrid,
What?
I just want to clarify something, and I apologize if I have not done so, perhaps, but you are a wise woman. And more so than most of us, you seem to have a gift for seeing things. You are sure of this, yes?
I do like it when you flatter me. Please flatter me some more. I don't get it often. I always get, what is this crazy woman? Why don't you shower? Have you heard of hairbrush? Instead of, you are wise. And you see
In
things
fairness,
beyond
people
comfort.
3 towns over will be yelling at you to shower. Yes, now you understand how it is feel like to be insulted. It did
Yes.
not feel very good, did it?
You do it to me.
Before we kill each other over who insulted who.
It is meaningless joking.
Excellent. My sense of humor was lost in the war. I completely forgot my step. What were we talking about?
You were
Oh,
asking
yes.
me if I was being serious about the things I said seriously.
In my defense, sometimes it is difficult for me to tell when you are serious, Ingrid.
I'm always serious.
So,
And-
we have either demon child is demon, or demon child is being fed demonic milk from the wet nurse's bosom.
Or demon child is simply not demon but troll.
Troll is
just
also
troll.
possible. Also, and I immediately realize where I am and start scanning the tree line, realizing that there's a fucking devil jackalope somewhere looking at me.
Logic and vigilance, please, everyone.
Can I please add my
To
bloodhound?
everyone.
Oh no.
Everyone, yes, please.
Logic and vigilance, eh?
I failed.
Yep. You failed. Okay.
Keep that in mind so I can update the Pavel count.
Why is my logic and vigilance so terrible? I'm so good at
Oh my
this.
gosh.
2 successes. Okay.
Da! I don't know why I keep saying da. That's not even Finnish.
Duh.
Okay.
Joseph Kruger.
Okay. Who got 1 success or higher? Okay. Dr. Anki.
Ooh.
Anki got 2.
I pavelled the first one, I have pushed my luck, and I have gotten 2 successes.
What conditions are you on at the minute, Kruger?
I am currently on frightened,
Okay.
I'm gonna push it as well.
All right.
Actually, hold on.
because I fear the devil hair. I've seen those things fight, they're fucking awful.
Box your fucking ears in. Yeah.
That's better.
That's just a
2
regular
successes now.
Yeah.
Okay. Kruger and Pavel and Dr. Anki. Dr. Anki, you look around with a cool head and a logical mind, and you analyze the trees in front of you. You see movement in the bushes, maybe about 30 feet away, heading away from you. You catch sight of a maybe waist height creature, white fur, heading away from you, and that's all you glance as it moves away. Alexander and Pavel, you both also see this, and you hear in the wind a low whistling in a strange double timbre that winds its way around your eardrums and makes its way into your mind. It causes you almost a drowsiness for a moment, and you feel yourself shaking off sleep and coming back to yourselves. Alexander,
Mm-hmm.
it's happening again. They're trying to get the better of you. And you will not have it. You feel the anger begin to raise in your throat as you go to storm after this thing. Pavel, what conditions are you on?
I don't have any now because I
Okay.
got rid of my ones. So
I will say that you also feel this anger well up in your throat as you realize that once again, a situation has been presented before you that you have very little control over. And frankly, it's getting silly. You exchange a look with Alexander and also go to stride into the tree line. And it's as you do this that behind you in the house, you don't need to roll to hear this. It is loud and it echoes throughout the trees. You hear a very loud, distinctive sound of a gunshot. From inside the house.
Running!
You sprint inside this house and you make your way to the sound of gunshot. It's easy enough. The echoes are still echoing throughout the house. The cavernous halls here, the marble pillars seem to reverberate with the noise of it, but you can tell where it's coming from by the trail of blood leaking out from behind one of the doors to the servants' quarters. As you bust it open,
Red light.
Red light, folks. You open to see a horrific scene. You see on the floor of the kitchen, wet nurse Ano, with the top half of her head almost completely gone, and her brains scattered across the floor. She is stone cold dead and in a pool of her own blood that is only growing. Her arms are outstretched to either side as though something has been pried out of them. And you look up to see out of the window a familiar figure carrying a bundle, getting into a stagecoach just as it pulls away.
I'm going to do a murder.
You mean right now?
I'm gonna do a murder, and it's gonna be bad. On that state for next week.
Whether it's the last thing we do.
Okay, I assume you will run after the coach?
To the stagecoach, because there's one out the front, isn't there, by the valet?
There is, but you don't know where this one is headed.
You're making good points. You're making solid points. I've got
Can you shoot the horse?
But yeah.
Yeah. I'll run out the door after.
I'll book it, yeah.
Right,
Sergeant, can you shoot the bloody horse?
Yes.
Okay, you all book it after this thing and emerge onto the path outside of the manor house just in time to see the path that it is taking. It veers a hard right and begins to thunder down the dirt road here, heading out of town towards the forest.
Well, I can't shoot the horse.
You can roll for it, buddy. It's going to be a hard check. The horse is directly away from you. You're going to be aiming for its legs, essentially getting to your crawling onto your front on the road and aiming your gun under the carriage, trying to get the horse's legs. So please roll me.
There's also a worry that I'll shoot the child.
Yeah.
Just a worry. Although I am rolling a pool of 9.
Precision.
Either way, you deny him his objective. I should not be saying that.
Yeah.
Ouch.
No one can aid me in this game.
No, unfortunately not. Actually, I will say that who has firearms here? Who has ranged? Okay, Dr. Anki can guide your shot in this instance.
Wind speed, it's heading the other way.
You're my spotter.
Add an extra dice for Dr. Anki's help.
I've only done this with cannon before.
Can I help a little bit?
200 meters moving east.
I want to... How far away? It's quite far away. I can't throw dirt that far.
20 feet, getting farther.
Oh, I could have blessed your gun.
You should always do that in the beginning of session.
Should have done that at the beginning. I apologize.
I wanted to do conjuring tricks, but it only works when I'm manipulating people. So I don't think I can help.
Can you manipulate Kruger into believing that you blessed his gun?
I don't want her going near my gun.
How many successes did you get, my guy?
Would you believe?
Don't.
that I'm going to push my luck.
Flipping it.
Her and Pavel count 26,
I rolled
gentlefolk.
9 goddamn dice, and the highest I got was a singular 5.
Baron, this roll is for you.
I was blessing for a fake priest.
4 successes.
Nice.
4 successes! Holy moly! Okay. God
No,
damn.
to the right, to the right.
That was a fired 1. It went wide, and I just went, shh. Nope.
Yeah, you shoot under this thing, and accounting for wind speed with Dr. Anki's help, you manage to get it so that it almost curves in the air. The weight
Coriolis
of the
effect.
bullet allows you to direct it because it's just such a hefty round that you can actually account for that as it finds its mark. And you hear a horrific screaming, pained whinny as it hits this horse's leg, and you watch as the stagecoach wobbles. As the man's voice inside yells consternation at the driver, and the driver yells in terror as the horse begins to go down, and the stagecoach wobbles. Its momentum, taking it onto its side as it does so.
There was a
Coriolis beats Carolus Linnaeus, you devil.
As this happens, you are all stood there and you prepare yourselves for what comes next. And you hear a trundling of wheels behind you. You spin around to look, and you see another stagecoach appear at the other end of the road, blocking off the exit. The valet that you met earlier today jumps out, grabs a shotgun from the footwell, and loads it.
Nice.
And that is where we will end for today. Because
Peace.
next time,
It was an
have
inside
ourselves
job.
Just
a fight. Hello.
what do I suffer from? For the
Oh,
push?
sugar lumps. I need to solve.
No, it's fine.
I don't
No,
know.
you had drama
Lot to do. How many conditions are you on now? I believe
Well,
you're on 2 out of 3.
I'm on 2 out of 3 of
Yeah.
mental, and I have nothing on physical.
Yeah. I am actually going to say that because were you using the gun?
No, that was my rifle. I can't use the gun because that's a close range.
All right.
This is
I will say then that as you make this shot, you almost misalign it slightly. The first one, and the rifle rams back into your shoulder blade, causes almost you don't know if it's broken, but you hear a significant crunch as it hits the bone, and you're going to take me the battered condition on your physical.
I'm gonna go crunch my shoulder blade back into my shoulder. Just
Yeah, and
Lovely.
we will leave our Thursday's Children there for today as the moon
Yay!
to rise on the winter solstice, and we have a gun battle to wage. Join us again next week for the thrilling conclusion of our VAESEN story, King Hunt, and what exactly the heck is going on. Can our players defeat Carl Linnaeus and get back this baby and figure out what exactly has gone on here, or will something truly terrible occur and Carl Linnaeus get away once again? Let's find out. Same bat time, same bat channel next week. Band of Badgers, 9 p.m. BST. Thank you so much all for joining us. You've all been fantastic. Thank you, players. You've been tremendous as per the usual. And we will see you again in the Mythic North another time for one last adventure. Bye, guys.
I mean, player success and horrendous things happening are not mutually exclusive on this channel.
Bye, babies.
Ciao.